Urgent, Commanders fan. Look at what just happened. Nobody saw this coming, huh? But first, make sure to subscribe to the channel, because we bring you daily videos with the latest Commanders news. And don't forget to turn on notifications so you don't miss anything. Could Maxwell Hairston continue his ball hawking for the Commanders? Hogs Haven takes a look at 2025 NFL draft prospects that could contribute to the Commanders. Maxwell Hairston, CBS School Kentucky Conference, SEC College Experience, RS Junior Age. 21 height weight, 5'11", 183, LBS projected draft status. Second round player comparison, Janoris Jenkins player overview. Maxwell Hairston hails from a family of athletes. One cousin, Taiwan Jones, is a former NFL linebacker. Another cousin played professional basketball, and a third cousin played football for the University of Kentucky. Maybe that is what led Hairston, after leading his team to a state championship as team captain, to leave his home state of Michigan as a three-star prospect for the Bluegrass State. Hairston redshirted in 2021 and had minimal production in 2022, despite playing in 12 games. The following season, Hairston played like one of the best cornerbacks in the country. He led the SEC in interceptions and returned 2 for touchdowns. His play earned him All-Sec honors and garnered national attention. Many had high expectations for Hairston in 2024, and the season had a promising start for him. He was named team captain and provided good coverage early in the season, even bringing home a pick-6. However, he suffered a shoulder injury that he tried to play through. It affected his play as he was less aggressive as a tackler and had more missed tackles than his breakout season. Ultimately, he missed 5 games due to the injury. Despite having more eligibility, Hairston declared for the 2025 NFL Draft. Strengths enticing athletic traits show up on tape awareness and understanding of zone coverage, a plus footwork and transitions. In man coverage are fluid and precise, shoots out of back pedal to break on the ball turnover. Magnet hands to catch the ball and forces fumbles, will drop a shoulder and wrap up to make a tackle. Weaknesses less than ideal mass and length for cornerback. Not a lot of press man coverage, reps needs to consistently get his head around and find the ball in man coverage, might struggle against bigger, more physical receivers. Shoulder injury cost him time and compromised play in 2024. How does he fit on the team? Cornerback has been a weakness of the Commanders for a while. At least one team name, Uggle. The trade for Marshawn Lattimore during last season was costly, but his play against anyone not named A.J. Brown was solid. That said, he has been plagued with hamstring injuries. Mike Sainristil had a fantastic rookie campaign and showed versatility, but the team should find someone to play on the outside and allow Sainristil to play in the slot. Washington signed Jonathan Jones, but they need to find youth at outside corner. Maxwell Hairston is a competitive corner that has prototypical athletic traits coupled with excellent technique. These attributes are why he was able to get 9 turnovers in 32 games. But his size can't be ignored. He didn't play many snaps in press man. There will be bigger, more physical receivers that will present a challenge for him in the NFL. While he doesn't hesitate to make a tackle, his size will diminish his effectiveness at the next level. When you consider he has suffered a shoulder injury already, the size concerns might be too significant for some. If the Commanders are convinced that Hairston can stay healthy and refine aspects of his game, he would give them a corner that would excel in any coverage scheme. DC Joe Witt Jr. deploys. Pausing this news, just to say that if you want YouTube to keep recommending the latest Commanders news to you, it's very important that you leave a like on this video. Thanks. Now let's get back to the news. Commanders predicted to trade promising young WR to AFC East in exchange for dynamic RBT. The Washington Commanders have made their intentions clear since the offseason began. After last year's magical run to the NFC Championship game while learning, Jaden Daniels appears to be the next young, dynamic QB in the NFL who can win big games and elevate his teammates. The expectations have changed for Washington entering 2025. Adam Peters and Dan. Quinn found a way to assemble a roster last year that finished the regular season with a 125 record and reached the first NFC Championship game since 1991. When the season ended, Peters and company put the immediate focus on bringing back the staples from last year's squad. The Commanders resigned veterans Bobby Wagner and Zach Ertz, who played massive roles on their respective sides of the ball. Punter Tressway also got extended. He's been a big guy in the locker room for over a decade. There were other less splashy moves made, and while Washington had to watch some of its key players sign elsewhere like Jeremy Chin and Diami Brown, the Commanders were aggressive the minute free agency began. Washington's first big outside move was to trade for 49ers Jack O'Fall Trades W.R. Deebo Samuel for just a 5th-round pick. After that, the Commanders added depth on defense with versatile dail Javon Kinlaw and veteran CB Jonathan Jones, along with other role players. But then the Washington Commanders made arguably the most unexpected trade of the offseason when they sent a haul of draft picks to Houston in exchange for 5-time Pro Bowl LT Laramie Tunsil and a draft pick. Nobody believed Tunsil was a possible trade candidate, but Peters and company secured a player that will protect Daniels' blindside for the next 34 years minimum. That move will also allow the Commanders to move Brandon Coleman, who played decent enough at left tackle as a rookie last season, to right tackle where he's far more comfortable. With the NFL draft inching closer and closer, there are some media, members and reputable websites who don't think the Commanders are done adding players via trade. Bleacher Report predicts Washington will trade a 2025 4th-round pick number 128 overall and W.R. Luke McCaffrey to the New York Jets in exchange for R.B. Breece Hall. After being one of the breakout surprises of the 2024 NFL season and making an unexpected run to the NFC Championship game, the Washington Commanders are seeking to set themselves up as a contender for years to come. The team has prioritized building the offense around up-and-coming quarterback Jayden Daniels, capitalizing on his cheap rookie-scale contract to add impact veterans such as Deebo Samuel and Laramie Tunsil via trade. Washington could now swing another move to reinforce the backfield, trading away wideout Luke McCaffrey and a 4th-round pick for Hall. McCaffrey had an uninspiring rookie season, appearing in all 17 games but catching just 18 passes for 168 yards and 0 touchdowns. However, he still has potential to develop into a serviceable NFL receiver. The 3rd-round pick may not ever develop into a superstar like his brother Christian, but he still has plenty of potential for the Jets to tap into. While giving up on McCaffrey after one season wouldn't be ideal, Washington shouldn't pass on the opportunity to get a young player who fills a position of clear need on the roster. The Commanders are currently set to head into 2025 with an aging Austin Eckler and journeyman Jeremy McNichols as the only running back depth behind starter Brian Robinson Jr. Hall would round out a Commanders offense that ranked number 7 in the league last year in total yards, but saw Daniels lead the team in rushing yardage and didn't have a single running back go over the 800-yard mark. Hall could immediately slot in as Washington's RB1 while forming one of the NFL's best 1-2 combinations alongside Robinson. Could Washington get NFL Draft's most underrated player? The opinions expressed in this article do not reflect those of the team. Another draft is on the horizon, which means the Washington Commanders have another chance to improve their roster and get closer to competing for a championship. The Commanders put themselves among the best teams in the league last season, going from 413 in 2023 to earning an appearance in the NFC Championship in head coach Dan Quinn and general manager Adam Peters' first year leading the franchise. Although their season ended against the Philadelphia Eagles, they now have a clear foundation for the future with former number 2 overall pick Jayden Daniels in the backfield. Now, the Commanders are picking on the opposite end of the first round with the number 29 overall selection. They got the most important piece last year with Daniels, but there are still several positions they need to address before the 2025 season begins. In anticipation of that selection, Commanders. Com will highlight one mock draft from a draft expert each week to delve into how that player or players would fit with Washington. We're wrapping up this year's series by looking at a mock draft from NFL. Com's Mark Ross, who believes the Commanders could take a steal with the 29th overall pick. JT Twimilow, Edge, Ohio State. The Washington Commanders did plenty to provide short-term answers to their depth issues at defensive end. Their longer-term options, however, are in shorter supply. The Commanders are starting the 2025 NFL Draft at a significantly different spot compared to a year ago, so getting the top player pass rushers like Abdul Carter, Jalen Walker, or Michael Williams will not be an option for them. Fortunately, this year's class is deep at the position, so they still have a chance to take a starter or prospect who can fill a heavy workload. It's one of the reasons Commanders fans should trust general manager Adam Peters, who has shown a knack for finding the right fit for head coach Dan Quinn's culture and schemes. Ross has Peters finding another gem in Twimelau to help elevate Washington's reworked pass rush. Maybe the most underrated player in this draft class, Ross wrote. Twimelau joins Dan Quinn's defensive front as a hard-nosed and productive talent. JT Twimelau has the makings of a player who will have a long NFL career pick. Twitter. ComGu PI480C0V PFF College, PFF College. April 17, 2025. It is understandable why Ross would label Twimelau as someone who hasn't gotten the same national attention as some of the other top pass rush prospects. ESPN's Mel Kiper Jr. is the fourth-ranked defensive end on his big board, an NFL. Com's Daniel Jeremiah doesn't even have him on his latest prospect rankings. He also opted out of on-field drills at the Combine, so there hasn't been much to catch. Analysts' eyes since the end of his college career. However, the film shows a player who flashes first-round talent. Twimelau relies on his power to make plays, and that approach yielded consistently positive results in the form of 23, 5 career sacks and 144 tackles. Twimelau had his best performance in 2024 when he set career highs in both categories and forced 2 fumbles. And in a year when Ohio State's defense was one of the best in the country, Twimelau was one of the Buckeyes' best players. He was a first-team All-Big Ten selection with the third most tackles for loss in the FBS 21. 5 rugged edge defender with the size, length, and toughness to play up or down in hybrid fronts, NFL. Com's Lance Zierlein wrote in his draft profile of Twimelau. Twimelau plays to his size. His game revolves around power and force. He uses well-timed strikes and good length to stay separated and shed the block cleanly. Ohio State edge JT Twimelau 64, 265, 33-34 arms. Excellent power rusher in pocket. Collapser will be valuable opposite an elite speed rusher in NFL. Watch him close the distance quietly before the sudden stab through the RT's chest. Shrinks Ewer's throwing platform. Pick. Twitter. ComJDOAWVLano, Benjamin Solak. March 25, 2025, but the Commanders don't just need someone who can rush quarterbacks if they do draft a defensive end in the first round. They must be able to help improve their 30th-ranked rush defense. Although he'll need to improve some technical aspects of his skill set, Twimelau has the size 6'4", 265 pounds to hold up against NFL offensive linemen. His power helps him get off solo blocks, and he's shown an ability to quickly diagnose blocking. Schemes to put himself in the best position to make a play. Once again, Twimelau's stats show how reliable he was for Ohio State. He received the 7th best run defense grade from Pro Football Focus and only missed 2 tackles in 2024. And Twimelau knows how to elevate his skill set in the biggest moments, as he had 23 tackles and 6 5-sacks during the Buckeyes college football playoff run. JT Twimelau projects well as a traditional hand-in-the-ground defensive end in even fronts, wrote Bleacher Report's scouting department. He has great size and can be a good run defender with his strength and physicality at the point of attack. Setting. The edge is fairly easy for him, and he can get off blocks to make plays against the rushing attack. The biggest criticism for Twimelau is that he needs to develop a more robust pass rush to be at his most effective in the NFL. That could take some time, but if he does get drafted by Washington, the team has done enough at the position to prevent him from having too much responsibility as a rookie. He could do what he does best while developing into a player who can handle a larger role in his second year. Regardless of how long his development takes, Ross believes Twimelau could help the Commanders bolster one of their most important positions. Filling a big need in Washington, JTT could start immediately for the Commanders, whose DE depth chart is littered with NFL journeymen, Ross wrote. Commanders reflect on blockbuster trades amid buzz. On next move, the Washington Commanders are one of the few playoff contenders from last season that did not lose key players on either side of the ball this offseason. Instead, they added key players in the hopes they would be able to continue to compete as a top title contender in 2025. Players like wide receiver Deebo Samuel and left tackle Laramie Tunsil were acquired in the hopes of building the offense. Even further from what they once were, it was something that general manager Adam Peters has always shown an ability to do. The Commanders added Marshawn Lattimore in a trade at the deadline last offseason. Now, they added key players to their offense. You take each opportunity as they come, Peters said at the NFL owners' meetings in Palm Beach, Florida. Understanding that we were able to get really good players at important positions, there's give and take to that. The trades for both Tunsil and Samuel do not come without concerns. Both players have long injury histories that made it so Washington only had to give up later-round picks for the receiver and tackle. In the case of Tunsil, specifically, the Commanders believe the trade is worth it for a Pro Bowl player when healthy. Early returns show he's been great, Peter said. He's connected with a lot of our guys, and I think he's going to be a great addition. Those opportunities acquiring a left tackle are rare, so we thought it was right to pounce on it. And now comes the NFL draft, and a paucity of DC picks, which suggests to us there should be next move buzz as Thursday night approaches. It's unclear whether these moves will work out at this point. What is clear, though, is that Washington is doing what they can to add stars to their offense. And, now Commanders fan, I want to hear from you. What's your opinion on this? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I don't know if you know this, but your opinion matters a lot for Commanders. I'll be back any moment with more Commanders news we want. Dallas!